I'm speaking with Karen de Souza of Guyana. She is the laureate of the Anthony N. Sapka Caribbean Awards for Excellence in the Public and Civic Contributions category. This is the 2014. And she is one of the founders of Red Thread. Now, Red Thread is an advocacy group that fights for the rights of women, domestic violence, and children. The first thing I want to ask you is that, you found yourself on the receiving end of some really harsh criticism, incarceration, unemployment, et al. And now to be recognized in this category, what does it bring to your service, as well as how do you feel about it?
I suppose the simple answer would be that the award says that I've been doing something right. Mm-hmm. What does it bring? The recognition does offer, I guess, an indication that this is necessary work, that it's work that should be happening all over the region, because one of the things that we know is that there is crisis wherever you go in the Caribbean, and there needs to be a lot more attention to addressing some of those issues than there is at the moment.
But what was the catalyst that led you specifically to start Red Thread? And also, why women and children?
The catalyst for Red Thread was, in fact, women being locked up, who did not expect to be locked up because they were attending a political party demonstration.
Like yourself?
Like myself. Well, I was used to being locked up by then, but these were, women who had never gone into a police station or anything like that, who were so-called decent housewives, taking care of their families, kind of thing. So basically they said yes, they understood the issues, but this business of demonstration, of getting locked up and so forth, was absolutely not what they were interested in. And they were concerned about their survival, about the survival of their children, about earning money. And that led to some discussions among the women in the party, and essentially led by Andaye, who is the international coordinator of Red Thread. Right. And we agreed that we needed to start something that was about women, that did not relate to or reflect any political party. So this was a woman thing.
A woman thing. But then specifically you went into rape and domestic violence, child abuse. Why?
Well, one of the early things that Red Thread did, of course, was income generation, which I don't have any particular skill or interest in. But as we moved around, and in fact, it was out of work with Sistren of Jamaica that we developed some methods. They taught us some methods about organizing community conversations, community discussions, and so forth, which we really took to, because it made so much sense. And essentially what I did in Red Thread was develop a group of women who volunteered for this. Say, this is what we want to do. We want to go around discussing issues, talking with women in communities. And so we did that, and violence and all those issues of children came to the fore in the conversations with women in the communities.
As the founder of Red Thread, just tell me specifically, what does your organization do, and how are you funded?
As one of the founders, what do? We work around a number of priorities. One, obviously, is violence. Domestic violence, rape, and child abuse is kind of the most frontal one, but we also are very concerned about violence in the communities, any form of interpersonal violence, including ethnic violence. We are concerned about organizing with women for living incomes, to ensure that everybody has enough to eat, rather than the kinds of enormous disparities of circumstances that we can see
So have you seen legislation changed, laws change as a result of your organization?
There have been some changes in laws.
For instance?
So, for example, after lots of lobbying, we have a very new Sexual Offences Act, which is very forward-thinking. The struggle now, of course, is to get it implemented fully, which is always the struggle.
Always.
We've had a Domestic Violence Act since 1996, and
but is it enforced?
We're still fumbling to get the implementation right. So that's in terms of violence. There are a number of child protection laws that still have to be addressed. The main one would be concerned with juvenile justice, because I'm not sure about the situation in Trinidad, but certainly in Guyana, we're in the unfortunate situation where children who have been damaged by their circumstances, who then act out in various ways, are then treated like criminals rather than given the support and help that they need. So that's one of the things that hopefully will be addressed in the juvenile justice law.
What would be your advice in becoming somebody would want to become more active in bringing issues of domestic violence, rape, child abuse to the fore?
I think you just have to do it. I mean, one of the things that is very common is that we, in our busy and tight schedules, we kind of close our eyes and ears and mouths to needs that are around us. But I'm sure if one is paying attention, that it will be evident that domestic violence is out there. It's in your face. That child abuse is in your face.
It is evident, but sometimes you feel impotent and you want to know what do you have to do, because you see the personal sacrifices that you have made, and sometimes you're afraid that to make the same sacrifices. What are some of the sacrifices that you have made, and would you change the script?
I would not say that I've made sacrifices. I mean, I've made some choices which were easy for me because I don't have any dependents, so I'm essentially free. And it really should not be about sacrificing. I think one is, I know that Trinidad has laws. I know that there's been a big reversal since those laws were implemented. And I think women in particular, but also men, not excluding men, have to start talking much more about the retreats that are evident in terms of the laws, the ways in which it is so much easier to blame the victim than to address the more difficult situation about why is this person being victimized. And sometimes that's not very easy, but once you're not trying to enter into popularity contests, I think it becomes very easy. The hardest thing might be the first step.
You've said that you've got the most support from the grassroots sector, and that they're the movers and shakers, and that the middle class, upper middle class, are more complacent. Can you elaborate on that?
I think a lot of the time the grassroots have very little to lose. And they also tend to be ignored, except most likely at election time. And everybody wants a vote, and there's this notion that because a person may not have completed secondary school or had tertiary education, that there's a certain kind of discussion that they cannot enter into, and that's absolutely false. So it's to recognize that every single person has a view and has something to offer, and to create the space for persons to make those views known. Middle classes, professional classes, I guess, are just on the treadmill, and I guess they just largely are thinking about themselves and about advancement, about improving their lot, without recognizing that your lot cannot be improved if the lot of so many thousands of others is not also improved. And we have to go way beyond the idea that, I do well, I get rich, then some of the crumbs will trickle down. We have to get past that. It doesn't work, it hasn't worked, and it's never going to work. So we need to find some better ways of relating to each other, regardless of class or race or geography.
So what does Karen de Souza and Red Thread want to see in the future, apart from us generating more community and working passionately for the common good? Is there something specific that you're working on?
Well, I think we have to make our work more efficient. I think we have to find ways to expand our reach, and I guess to organize a louder voice so that those in authority, policymakers, and so forth are listening, are made to listen much more closely and then to act.
So finally, I just want to ask you, what does this Anthony N. Sabga Award mean to you?
What it means is that we'll be able to do a lot more in Red Thread for this year, so that we can actually begin to plan some programs, getting back into the interior of Guyana, where we haven't been able to go for a couple of years because we haven't had the money. Mm-hmm. So we'll be able to get back out there.
I just want to say congratulations and thank you so much.
Thank you very much.